Have you ever looked at someone and thought, why are they like that? Maybe you've seen them move between worlds so comfortably. At one point, they're speaking English, another time, they're speaking Yoruba. In some conversations, they tell you comfortably about Islamic religion. In another moment, they're telling you about Christian religion. And at times, you also hear them talk about traditional religion like Ifa, Ogun, Shango, Oya. And that makes you think that why are these people so inconsistent? But amidst those inconsistencies, have you thought about maybe what we see as inconsistencies are things that they inherit, which allows them to move effortlessly in between worlds in terms of language, in terms of religion, and in terms of conversations they have? Today, I'm going to share a story. And to be transparent, it is not a story to say you have to believe this, but the story is an invitation into questions that I continue to wrestle with myself. I grew up in a Yoruba family in the southwestern part of Nigeria. And as a family, there were things we simply did that I didn't question, or I felt like they were simply normal things. For instance, on the third day, there are rituals that is done when a child is born. On the eighth day as well, there is also another ceremony. During the third day, there are so many like stories shared, food being served, and the child is being named. So we call it Oroile. I remember they call it Oroile then. And on the eighth day, there is also the naming ceremony. Yet, I was growing up as a Muslim. But within that is knowing that I do have the Oroile name, starting with Ogun, and also knowing I have my Muslim name and even the Yoruba name. While I think about all this is that all those existed together, I inherited them, I was living with them, right? It wasn't until much recently that I started thinking and reflecting about what the different components or what I grew up seeing as simply norm started hitting deeply, and I keep interrogating what it means. Where do I sit? And you know, the different pieces are beginning to piece together as I think through who I am. And the more I look at that is now me that I continuously ask the question of how do all these different worlds come together? How am I piecing them together? And that question became bigger because the more I studied language, education, history, and even sociology, then I realized that something that many of us inherit before we chose them. We inherit language, we inherit culture, we inherit religion, our ways of greeting, our ways of dressing, our ways of eating, and even interaction with people are things that we inherit, including the way we mourn, the way we interact. And sometimes, do we agree with some of this inheritance, some of this that we get? And sometimes, those things we tend to pull away from them. I don't think that the tension is abstract. The tension is real, and you know, I think I am not the only one who carries this tension. Acknowledging that the tension is real and that I am not the only one that carries this tension makes me go back to what scholarship reminds me of. As a person, at times people expect you to have neat answers about who you are, what you do, why you do what you do. But I have learned from scholarship that it's okay not to have neat answers to who you are or what you embody. Sitting in that complexity and moving comfortably between worlds based on what we inherit, it's okay. And I've also come to realize that it is not a simple process as it may sound, especially for people with history of migration, colonialism, religion, language, and even family complexities. As such, understanding all these nuances has helped me a lot in judging people less and trying my best to try to understand them more. Again, sitting with the complexities, knowing that the tension is real, has given me another layer of judging less, but understanding people more. And as we think, so as I sit with the realization of keen interest in understanding people more and judging them less, is an invitation to ask. Instead of asking people why are they inconsistent, why is their life not fitting into a specific box? How about asking, what do they inherit? What is their family history? Especially, what worlds do they come from childhood? That question tends to change so many things, if not everything. Because behind every person is a history, behind every person is a language, behind every person is a family culture that they've been socialized into, and they carry that in between the different worlds that they navigate. And one of the beautiful things about learning is that it doesn't always give us certainty, most times, right? Sometimes it gives us compassion, it gives us empathy. It reminds us that people are often far more carrying histories than we see, that they even talk about, that they themselves even understand. And so, but perhaps we don't want to rush to judging people. We want to ask better questions. We want to give rooms for people to navigate the different worlds that they call home. And maybe when next you see me, I may choose to introduce myself as Yetunde. And next time I introduce myself as Ogunbusola. And next time I introduce myself as Shukurolilai. And maybe at times when you read my writing, I write about Ifa. And another time I write about Muslim women and their identity. And another time I just write about language multilingualism. This encompasses all the worlds that I navigate as a person, and it shapes the kind of scholar that I am. Again, it's not about inconsistencies. It's about worlds that people navigate. Until next time, keep bridging worlds through language, culture, parenting, education, learning, and all in between. I remain Yetunde S. Alabede.